Chapter 4 addresses geocoding. Geocoding is the process of creating geometric representations for locations, such as points, from descriptions of locations, such as street addresses. Geocoding uses a computer program called a geocoding engine that employs code tables and rules to standardize address components. If you've ever wondered how a map is associated with addresses, or how address or other related positional information can be updated in a map, this section will address those issues. Geocoding may be used for several different things, and these are some of the common uses of geocoding. A city's economic development department will use maps of businesses by street address to determine technology-rich areas in a city if they're interested in looking at patterns of clustering and development. A hospital might map patients to determine where to open a satellite clinic. A retail store chain might map store and customer locations and compare them to mapped competitor locations. And there are many other uses of geocoding. We'll look at the best practices and processes of geocoding. First of all, the geocoding flowchart. What we can see here is that the process of geocoding starts with an input address. The address has to be parsed, which means that it would be broken down into its component parts. A soundex key will be generated. We'll talk about what that is in a few minutes. And then address candidates would be identified. Are there matches? If yes, the matches are scored. How correct are they? Is the best match better than a score of 90? If so, this can become an output address. If not, then it's listed as an output no match, and the process has to be reviewed. Here are the examples of the steps involved in geocoding a particular address. First of all, the address grouped together, 125 East Oak Street, zip code 15213. A parsed address, each one of these component parts would be in a separate column. The street address 125, the direction east, the street Oak, and then the label street, each in their own column or field. And then the zip code, again in a separate column or field. Abbreviations need to be standardized. So in this case, 125, next field would be E, next field Oak, next field ST, and then the zip code. The elements are assigned to match keys, and the index values are then calculated. A soundex key matches names based on how they sound, if indices match. It translates names to a 4-digit index of 1 letter and 3 numbers. The first character of the name remains unchanged. The adjacent letters in the name would have the same soundex key. They're assigned to a single digit. If the end of the name is reached before filling 3 digits, zeros are used to complete the code. Candidate scoring uses a rule base to score source and reference matches. A perfect score is a score of 100. Points are subtracted for each mismatch. And the examples would be a soundex indices match but street names do not match would be -2 points. A street type missing in the source would be -1. Street types do not match -2. This is a way of allowing for data to be scored so it does not entirely come up with a mismatch if it's missing one simple part or if there's a simple error that could then be corrected. So candidates, for example, would be these positions from the from and to in terms of street addresses, the side of the street, the parity, direction, and street, and candidates are then scored and filtered. The addresses are matched as points, so that this shows us the addresses would range from 101 to 199. Oak, it's a street. On the left side of the street, parity is O, direction E, street 4357. This would have to do with the number associated with the line segment. The next two slides show us the minimum information required for geocoding. Typically, we would start with tabular data in either text file or database format. This would include at least a street address and a zip code. Notice that the street addresses in one of these data sources might come non-parsed. In other words, the street number, the street name, or the address number, the street name, type, an apartment or suite number would all be together in the same column or field. And that would have to be parsed. Next is the geocoding reference layers, which typically we would use street center lines and zip code polygons. Street center lines are set up relative to zip code polygons so that by knowing the street address and the zip code, you should be able to geocode the address, assuming that all the information is there and it's accurate. And that concludes this introductory section on the basics of geocoding.